Hello, and welcome to all of you piano lovers all over the world. I'm sure that you are already aware of Czerny's Opus 599, and that famous and wonderful book called A Practical Method for Beginners at the Piano. 2 years ago, in 2019, I made a video on some of the exercises in that book. Today, I'm going to take up Czerny's The Young Pianist, Opus 823, which he wrote 2 years after writing Opus 599. Possibly because, great though the book is, he kind of got bored teaching it to hundreds of students. So he wrote a new book for beginners, and that is The Young Pianist, Opus 823, and we will take that up today. To tell you right away, leave out exercise 1. I am playing from the Alfred edition, which probably most of you will buy. Please don't get those yellow books, the Czernys, because the fingering is terrible. Even in the Alfred, the fingering by Willard Palmer sometimes, I've had to change it while teaching my students, but not too often, only occasionally. So now what Czerny does in number 1, he puts the right hand in the D position instead of the C position in the first line. Now, this would be extremely confusing for a beginner, so I suggest you leave out number 1 and you start with number 2. The interesting thing about 2, 3, and 4 is they're like a theme and variations. I will play 2, 3, and 4, and please listen and you will see that it's the same tune with variations. Number 2 was the theme. Number 3 is the first variation. And now, number 4 is the second variation. So numbers 2, 3, and 4 taken together constitute a little piece. And I think that I find it very charming that he begins the book that way. Now let us look at number 5. Right. And now, I noticed that Willard Palmer, the first measure of each line is printed, like the second line starts with measure 6, so 7, 8, 9, 10. If you look at measure 10 at the end of the second line of exercise 5, you will see that Willard Palmer has written C and G to be played with 4 and 1. It's not necessary. even though the preceding chord was B and G with 5 and 1, you can just make your hand a little smaller and play the next chord, C and G, also with 5 and 1. It's good to have a flexible hand. However, in the second last measure, Czerny introduces G and C in the left hand, which is really the second inversion of the chord of C, you know. And then G7, right? G7. So let's look at number 5 all over again. Now numbers 6 and 7, both of which are in triple time. Number 7. About Czerny's exercises is that they're so musical that they sound like simple, delightful little pieces rather than exercises. Now, exercise 8, I strongly suggest that you leave out, he goes into the G position. Come back and learn all the exercises in the G position after you have played all the exercises in the C position first and thoroughly mastered them. So now, number 9, also in triple time. And leave out number 10 again because he here, in the second half, he puts the right hand in the G position. Once again, too premature. So we go to number 11, where he introduces 8th note. Here, because Czerny moves around a little bit, he goes from C position to B position. I completely agree with Willard Palmer's fingering. Once again, and I don't want to beat this into the ground, but leave out number 12 because it is in the G position. And that brings us to number 13. Now the 14th is quite delightful. It's just playing one octave higher. It has a ton of leisure lines, but they're all in the 5-finger position in C, and really, this is not as difficult as it looks at all. Of course, in these exercises, you must know the left-hand chords, C, G first inversion, and G dominant 7th, and then you can play them in the Alberti style. And so on. Again, leave out number 15 for the same reason that it's in the G position. We come to number 16.